Hi, I'm Luann Moldovan, director, co-producer, and co-adapter of The Set Up.
And I'm David Myers, also co-adapter and co-producer of The Set Up and an actor in The Set Up.
He'd let you go, and then he'd start. First a left, then a right. And you'd wonder who told you you could fight. Clinch? Try and do it.
I became aware of The Set Up quite by accident when I had produced and directed The Wild Party, another book-length poem written in rhyming couplets by Mr. Joseph Moncure March. I had a book of The Wild Party, and after a time of working on it, got other versions of this poem as well, and in one of these volumes, were two pieces, two separate poems, the other being The Set Up. Joseph Moncure March was a protege of Robert Frost back in the early 1920s and an early contributor to the New Yorker magazine, and I was entranced with this brilliant creation of his. The Wild Party is written of this debauched evening during the Jazz Age in New York City, and I had 6 actors playing 25 different roles. When I came upon the fact that he had written another piece, The Set Up, I read it and ferociously, enthusiastically inhaled it because it was just like nothing else I had ever read before.
The Star Arena reeked with age. It smelled like the bottom of a monkey cage. Dark, stark.
It stood immense between small shops and tenements.
Gloomy,
Dim.
sinister looking, grim. A glittering white arc light glared against the black night, making great shadows sprawl over the crumbling brown wall and bringing out that rigid shapes of long, slanting fire escapes.
Under this lamp, a crowd stirred, wading through darkness, ghostly, blurred.
Here's an example of how it sounds. Pansy had the stuff, but his skin was brown, and he never had a chance
at the middleweight crown. Mean as a panther, crafty as a fox, he could hit like a mule, and he knew how to box.
What makes this piece so exciting is that Mr. March chose to write his stories in a form that we would best call narrative verse. It's not really a poem. You're telling a story, but when you look at it, it looks like a classic Greek or classic Roman literature, like the Iliad. But every 2 lines rhyme. That's rhyming couplets. So we call it Homer meets Damon Runyon after they've been introduced by Molière, perhaps. It's fascinating because this is a very classical form of literature. But what you're hearing is a story about the mid-1920s prize-fighting game in New York City with all of the characters that you might imagine are there.
Blood ran down the sailor's chin. His teeth gleamed. He sprang in. He sucked.
Pansy blocked. The ropes on his left, he swung to his right, dodging away, swift, light.
This is not language that you would associate, say, with Greek tragedy, but it's coming at you in a very classical form. And the story of The Set Up is fascinating as well. It's the story of Pansy Jones, a middle-aged black prizefighter who, at a time like in the mid-1920s, battled open discrimination every single day of his life. He's just spent 5 years in jail, and he's back trying to regain his momentum to try and get a shot at the title. And he's just a little bit over the hill. His managers make a deal for him to throw a fight, but then decide, why tell Pansy? He's probably going to lose anyway. We'll keep all the money for ourselves. This is how the story begins.
Ray crouched down, swaying his head. His eyes flared. "Come on," he said. "Come on, you dirty bastard. Mix. None of your goddamn monkey tricks."
The cast is a group of 9 actors. 8 of them are playing about 35 roles. So it's a very tight ensemble. And I also wanted to include a live jazz musician. He acts as the kind of ghostly troubadour to the whole scene and the atmosphere, and acts as a kind of inner life to the main character as well. The trajectory is very much Greek tragedy. There's an inexorability to it, and this live musician helps to underscore and enhance that journey. We also have a fight choreographer who I wanted to bring on board because I didn't want to do fake boxing on stage, but rather we're going to develop our own unique kind of poetic physical language when the actual fight occurs.
Yeah, it's going to be extraordinary as a theatrical event because we're developing a different look. It's a different kind of property. It's going to be like nothing that you've ever heard. It's going to be a different kind of movement, not just language. You really don't want to miss this.
And so, in order not to miss it, be there at Shaking the Tree Theater, 823 Southeast Grant Street in Portland, February 12th to March 5th.